You ever been with a girl who says all the right things, but something just feels off? She texts you just enough to keep you interested, disappears for days. And when you're ready to move on, boom, there she is again, sending that "I miss you" text, acting sweet, calling you babe, just enough to reel you back in. Now, here's the truth most guys don't want to hear. Not every woman you're into is into you back. Some are just playing the game. Worse, some have mastered it. But here's what they don't expect: a man who knows the rules and can flip the whole damn game on them. Because this isn't another feel-good talk or watered-down advice. We're about to go deep. Psychological. Tactical. We're going to dissect the exact moves women make when they're stringing you along. And most importantly, how to flip the power dynamic without chasing, begging, or losing your self-respect. Forget what you heard in dating apps, fake alpha TikToks, or nice guy forums. This is about becoming unshakable. A man who's not only aware, but in control. We'll be breaking this down with real-world psychology, strategies from some of the most controversial seduction masters. Think Robert Greene, Zan Perrion, even a little bit of Casanova charm if you can handle it. You'll hear the raw truth that most guys don't want to accept, but once you see it, you can never unsee it. You'll start noticing patterns in her behavior that used to confuse the hell out of you. Suddenly, they'll make perfect sense. And instead of reacting like a lost puppy, you'll respond like a man who knows what's up and knows how to make her chase you. Because here's the thing, women don't play games with men they respect. They play games with men they see as weak, available, or too damn eager. And once you understand the signs, and more importantly, how to flip the script, you stop being a pawn in her game, and you start being the prize. So don't blink, don't skip, don't think this is just another signs video. This is different. This is where the blindfold comes off. By the end of this video, you'll never see female behavior the same way again. And she'll feel it. She'll feel the shift in your vibe, your tone, your energy. And whether she wants to admit it or not, she'll notice that she's no longer in control. You ever notice how some women give you just enough to keep you hoping, but never enough to feel secure? That's not indecision. That's strategy. Here's the first sign she's playing with you. And this one's subtle, but powerful once you see it. She makes your connection feel like a slot machine. One moment, she's warm, affectionate. She opens up emotionally, maybe even gets a little vulnerable. And just when you start thinking, damn, this could be something, she pulls back. Cold, unavailable. Maybe she doesn't reply for a day or two. Maybe she ghosts your plans last minute. Maybe she suddenly says she needs space. Then, right when you're about to walk away, she reels you back in, with just enough attention to reset the cycle. This is called intermittent reinforcement, and it's the exact same psychological trigger that makes gambling addictive. Not knowing when the reward is coming makes you crave it more. It wires your brain to chase, and when you start chasing, she starts controlling. Now, here's the truth. A woman who's genuinely into you won't need to use psychological tricks. She'll be consistent, even if she's busy. But a woman who knows she's not fully into you, but still wants the validation, attention, or free emotional labor, she'll run this cycle over and over, as long as you let her. The key to flipping this? Stop reacting to the pullback. When she goes cold, you go colder. Not out of spite, out of self-respect, out of understanding the game. Because nothing flips the power dynamic faster than a man who doesn't beg for clarity, but creates his own. Now let's go deeper, because the second sign is even more dangerous, especially if you're emotionally invested. She constantly tests your value, without ever committing to you. Pay attention to this one, because it can feel flattering at first. She compliments your ambition, your discipline, your body, your goals, but she never includes herself in your future. She'll say things like, "You're going to make some girls so lucky," or "Guys like you are rare these days." But she never says, "I'm lucky to have you." What she's doing is keeping herself emotionally above you, while keeping you emotionally engaged. It's validation for her and motivation for you to keep proving your worth. And if you're not careful, you'll slip into performance mode, trying to win her over, impress her, show her you're that guy. And that's exactly when you stop being masculine energy and start becoming emotional supply. A woman who's genuinely into you doesn't need to test your worth like you're in some damn audition. She'll want to build with you, not just observe you. So how do you flip this game? You stop performing. You stop explaining. You stop trying to show her anything. You become so locked into your own frame, your own goals, your own path, that her approval becomes irrelevant. And paradoxically, that's what makes you magnetic again. Because women don't chase men who need their approval, they chase men who don't even flinch without it. There's something dangerous about emotional ambiguity, especially when it comes from someone you're attracted to. The mind doesn't like uncertainty, but the ego feeds on it. And when a woman plays that game just right, you'll mistake confusion for chemistry. Now let's talk about the third sign. She flirts with the idea of you, but never makes the leap. This one's deceptive because it can look like interest. She'll initiate conversations. She might compliment you, tease you, open up emotionally, maybe even drop hints like, if only you lived closer, or if things were different. But every time you try to take things to the next level, make plans, ask her out, get more direct, she dodges. She'll say things like, I'm not ready, or let's just see where this goes. What she's doing here is enjoying the emotional charge of your presence, without ever stepping into the risk of connection. She's keeping you in a fantasy loop, and if you're not grounded, you'll mistake those little emotional spikes for intimacy. The truth is, she doesn't want you. She wants the attention, the emotional boost, the validation of knowing that someone like you desires her. You're basically a live-action romance novel, and as long as you stay in that role, reliable, consistent, emotionally available, she doesn't need to commit. She already has what she wants. So how do you flip this? You recognize that real desire isn't vague. It doesn't need to be decoded. If a woman truly wants to be in your life, she'll make it known. Not in riddles, not in vague texts, not in playful ambiguity, but with presence. And if she doesn't, you stop being the backup fantasy. You remove the emotional access, you cut the supply. Because the moment you stop feeding her with attention, she either disappears or she steps up. Either way, you win. Now, let's move into the fourth sign. And this one is subtle but deadly if you don't catch it early. She mirrors your effort. Just enough to stay relevant, but never enough to invest. You're the one initiating the conversations. You're the one planning the dates. You're the one showing up consistently. And once in a while, when you pull back, she throws you a breadcrumb. Maybe she sends a meme, maybe a voice note, maybe she asks how you're doing, out of nowhere. Just enough to remind you she exists. Just enough to reignite hope. This isn't real reciprocity. This is maintenance mode. She's keeping the connection alive, but only to the level that serves her. Her boredom, her curiosity, her ego. You're not building anything together, you're just orbiting her attention span. And the problem is, if you've been conditioned to see any response as a green light, you'll interpret those crumbs as signs of potential. You'll keep chasing, you'll keep giving. But let me break it to you like this. A woman who truly values you won't let you wonder if she's interested. She won't let you do all the emotional heavy lifting. She'll match your energy, or she'll remove herself. So how do you flip this game? By breaking the rhythm. You stop chasing. You stop initiating. You stop giving her the easy out of staying in touch with the minimal effort. You make her feel the absence of your presence, the silence, the shift in energy, the lack of convenience. Because once she realizes she no longer has your time on standby, she's forced to make a choice. Show up fully or fall off completely. And that's when the game changes. Not because you begged, not because you argued, but because you stopped feeding the illusion. Most guys never get to this point. They're too afraid of losing what little they have. But a man who values his energy doesn't fear loss. He filters it, because he knows what he brings, and he refuses to audition for someone who doesn't know how to appreciate it. Sometimes the most dangerous form of manipulation is the one that feels like affection. Here's the fifth sign she's playing with you. And it's one of the hardest to spot, because it doesn't feel like a red flag. It feels like chemistry. She creates emotional highs that feel intense, but not intimate. You know what I'm talking about. The moments where she looks at you like you're the only man on earth. The conversations that go deep, fast. The unexpected late-night calls. The spontaneous laughter. The way she leans in and makes you feel like there's something real. But pay close attention. Every emotional peak is followed by a disconnect, a withdrawal, a shift in tone. One day she's all in, next day she's emotionally flatlined. One moment you're the center of her world, the next you feel like an afterthought. That's not emotional complexity, it's emotional volatility. And the worst part? She knows exactly what she's doing. This tactic is called emotional flooding. It's a high dopamine exchange that creates a sense of accelerated closeness. It's often used in toxic dynamics to simulate intimacy, while avoiding any real commitment or emotional accountability. You end up chasing the high. You try to get back to that version of her you saw when things felt perfect. But that version, it was curated, strategic, a performance. And as long as you're trying to get back to it, she's in control. So how do you flip the game? You stop responding to the peaks and start observing the pattern. Because if emotional intensity isn't followed by consistency, it's not a sign of passion. It's a sign of instability. You train yourself to stop reacting to the spark and start looking for the structure. Real connection isn't measured by how high it gets. It's measured by how steady it stays. Now let's go to the sixth and final sign. And this one's cold, calculated, and disturbingly common in today's dating world. She keeps you in a category while convincing you that you're different. It starts subtly. She tells you she's not ready for a relationship right now. She says she's focusing on herself. Maybe she just got out of something, or she's not in the right headspace. But she still texts you. She still flirts. She still wants to hang out. Maybe even sleep with you. And when you start pulling back, she reels you in with, "I don't want to lose you," or "You're not like the other guys." Here's the uncomfortable truth. When a woman keeps you around while claiming she doesn't want anything serious, but continues to benefit from your presence, emotional, physical, or logistical, she's already placed you in a role. You're the placeholder, the emotional crutch, the just-in-case guy. You're not the man she's building toward. You're the one keeping her company until that man shows up. And her calling you different? That's not a compliment. It's containment. It's a way to keep you loyal to a role you never agreed to. So how do you flip this game? You stop accepting roles that don't match your standards. You stop allowing your time, energy, or loyalty to be consumed without a clear path forward. You don't get angry. You don't demand more. You just leave the frame, quietly, decisively. And when you do, that's when she either panics or vanishes. And either reaction is clarity. Because when a woman sees you as a man with options, not just someone waiting for hers, the dynamic shifts fast. She realizes you're not looking to be chosen. You're looking for someone who's ready to build with you, now. No games, no auditions, no ambiguity. Just two people moving with mutual clarity or moving on. Now, here's where everything shifts. Because recognizing the game is only half the battle. The real power? It's in how you respond. How you flip the dynamic without losing your identity, your values, your frame. And that doesn't mean playing her game better. It means leaving the game entirely and forcing her to step into yours. Because when a woman's used to manipulating men with emotional bait, breadcrumbing, and ambiguity, she doesn't know what to do with a man who's unmoved by it. She doesn't know how to handle the man who doesn't react. He decides. The man who doesn't wait for her affection. He commands respect through presence, purpose, and direction. So what does flipping the game look like? It's when you stop chasing attraction and start creating gravity. It's when your attention becomes rare because your focus is locked on your mission, not her mood swings. It's when you stop being emotionally available for someone who's not emotionally invested. And when you do that, she feels the shift. Her usual tactics don't work anymore. The emotional games fall flat. She senses that you're no longer another option. You're a man who chooses. And that energy? That's what flips the polarity. Now, not every woman will rise to meet you. Some will walk away because they were never serious to begin with. But the ones who can't ignore you anymore? That's where the real shift happens. Because you're no longer chasing someone to validate you, you've already chosen you. And when you operate from that level of clarity, self-respect, and inner gravity, the right women notice. They don't play games because they don't want to lose you. Now, if this video made you see things clearer, if even one part of this hit you in the gut and made you think, damn, that's what I've been living, then you already know you're not alone. So let's do this. Drop a comment right now and tell me which of these signs you've experienced. Be real, Be raw. This channel isn't about pretending we've got it all figured out. It's about learning the game, mastering the inner work, and becoming the kind of man who doesn't just play harder, but plays smarter. If you're tired of the fake dating advice out there, if you want more breakdowns like this, straight talk, no fluff, real psychology, and masculine strategy, then hit that like button, because that tells me to make more of this content. And if you know a guy who's being played right now, share this with him. You might help him see what he couldn't before. And if you're new here, subscribe, because we're just getting started. The next video, we're going deeper into female psychology, masculine energy, and exactly how to build a frame so strong. She either aligns with it or exits. No games, just truth. You ready?